going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the one and only James Williams Dog Waters, the proprietor of IamDogWaters.com, the founder of the Dog Waters channel, heard on over, at this point in time, I think I've done 290, almost 300 interviews. I'm going to stop telling y'all numbers because I don't want to be a liar, but we've done a lot. You guys know we've done a lot as the Dog Waters family, and we are continuing to expand and do much, much more in the paranormal field, and especially in the cryptid field. Now, listen to me and listen to me good, ladies and gentlemen. We are delving into Bigfoot lately, as you can see, and the reason why we're doing that is because I'm frankly tired of talking about Dogman. I told y'all this 1,000 times. I'm over Dogman. So we taken a little turn for a while, and we're starting to talk to people in the field of Bigfoot who've been honored to be speakers, and we know they're hardcore researchers and authors, and it's because I want to learn more about Bigfoot, and I know you guys want to learn more about Bigfoot. But the problem in this field is that I've found, I'm only speaking for myself, and I'm not talking about anyone because everybody's so sensitive. If I want to know something, I got to talk to people who know more than me. And what it does for me is, as I vet encounters from different people, I get key information that allows me to know if what that person is telling me is true or not. But the only way to get that is from people who are active field researchers, and they can give me some clues and some hints as to what's going on. With that being said, that is how we end up talking to Daniel Beniot right now, and we're going to get into Bigfoot. Daniel, how's it going, my friend? How you feeling today?
Oh man, I'm feeling great for this Wednesday. I guess it's Wednesday evening.
It's Tuesday. It's a Tuesday, baby.
Tuesday. My days, with what I do for work, my days are so messed up. But thank you so much for having me on here. It's amazing.
Hey man, that's how my days go. They all blend in, and you're trying to figure out what day it is. Wait, is today Tuesday? Yeah, today. Hold on, bro. It is Tuesday. You might be right. Hold on, let's see.
Yeah.
Today's Tuesday. Yeah.
No,
See
it
what
is.
I'm saying?
Yeah. I had to look over at my phone. It's like, yep, it's Tuesday.
No, man, thank you for joining me. And like I told you, we're going to have some fun talking about Bigfoot. Let's start here. I love to ask this question. And I know typically, you know, when you're dealing with interviews, it's this kind of purity question that people hit you with. Have you had a Bigfoot encounter yourself? It's like this purity test. It's the stupidest test on the planet, because whether you had an encounter or not does not solidify your knowledge in the subject. But I'm not going to hit you with the purity test. I'm going to hit you with this. This is what I found, true data wise across the board. Majority of people who end up in this field at some point in time throughout their youth or their younger years, something sparked their interest into this subject. And it's that something, that one thing that happens at a younger age, or it could be, when I say younger, I don't mean like 4 or 5 years old. I mean, we're talking about anywhere between 10 and 20 years old, that sparks their interest in the subject, and that's what leads to the encounter. Do you happen to be one of those people who were interested in the subject of Bigfoot at a young age, at an early age?
I be honest with you, no. I was always spending time out in the woods playing or hunting with Dad, but the subject of Bigfoot wasn't really anything that was really ever thought of. But I was just full of, enjoyment of being out in the woods all the time. I love nature, wildlife, nature in general. It was actually my playground. But I guess the way I would like to put it is that powder was always there. But till that moment came that ignited that curiosity, it wasn't until viewing that 1967 Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin footage.
The big booty Patty film. And Patty with a big old booty. Yeah, that got everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know it has gotten a lot of people in. And then over the years, seeing more, because that footage, we know, is, like I said, it's been around for over 50 years, and they've dissected that video. And it to see that science got involved with it later on was even more, I don't know the words to put it, but it was more fascinating. It made it that much more intriguing, to the point where they were not able to debunk it. I mean, to most, we see it as a real being, a real flesh and blood figure or subject of walking on film. I just, ever since that curiosity of wanting to know what was really out there in those woods that I haven't noticed or ever experienced before, had me going out there to the point where I was actually looking. It opened up a new world to me. My senses heightened, and I wasn't just walking through the woods like your average hunter or your average hiker does. I mean, I was actually paying attention. I was starting to study every little thing, you know. And then more came along as I discovered social media. When I got involved in social media, I had no clue that there was a Bigfoot community already in the works or developed, you know. And then I started, you know, picking up on other people, you know, learning some or meeting new people. I started seeing all these different theories that were flooding the community, and you know, and I started taking notes. I wasn't one of those people that jumped on board with everything. I had to take notes and do my own research. I had to look into things a little bit more myself, you know. And I guess you could say the plus side to all this was I was very well acquainted and familiar, you know, with, again, nature and wildlife. But it had me actually studying wildlife a little bit more. Not just what's here in our own neck of the woods, but I started doing a little bit deeper research. I started looking into what I believed Bigfoot or Sasquatch was more closely related, or what it resembled. And so I started looking at non-human primates, chimpanzees, gorillas, bonobos, baboons, etc., and especially orangutans. But I guess there's a lot more I could get involved with explaining or breaking some of that down, I guess. But I started learning what their behaviors were, why they did what they did. Why? Because fingers were being pointed at Bigfoot for this very same thing that our non-human primates are known for doing. So yeah, my focus just came along on studying wildlife, primates in general. You know, kind of doing a cross reference or comparison to the various species and their behaviors, their characteristics and traits, even their diets. You know, where are these creatures living? The ecology. You know, I'm not a scientist. However, I do try to take a scientific approach to a certain extent. You know, I'm definitely not no expert in any field whatsoever, but I took it upon myself to do the research and you know, the studies, the boots on the ground work, and everything else. But have I found any answers? Maybe to me, I did. Maybe I have certain things where I like to point my belief with. It doesn't make it a fact, but it's something I developed for myself as a foundation to build off of, and then kind of expand from there.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, I tell you
Yeah.
what, you know, I'm gonna put you at ease here because I can tell your mind is racing a little bit, and this is what I found with most people in the Bigfoot field and the researcher field. There's so much, in times there's so much chaos in this field. It's like you got to cover your bases with what you say and how you say it. I want you to know as we continue this
Right.
interview, don't worry about that. Nobody's, bro. I don't play those games with people, and I will check people over that. Relax. We're about to have some fun, and we're
Oh
going
yeah.
to talk about Bigfoot. Let me bring you back to this. So let's circle back. So you spent a whole bunch of time in the woods as a kid, and then as you became an adult,
Mhm.
you start getting interested in this topic, which makes perfect sense. It happens when you started to come to the revelation that these things actually existed, they were out there in the woods. Were you able to go back at any point in time, like have a reference point? Well, oh, I remember being in the woods with my dad, and it got quiet. Were there any revelations that, kind of in hindsight, that you were able to glean? Like, like with the new knowledge, based on all your experience in the woods as a young man, was there anything that stuck out to you at all?
In all honesty, I can't say that there ever was a moment that had me reflect or think back on to anything. However, I put myself back in thought and try to remember certain moments. Like, you know, I was very young. However, I try to look back on things. Was there ever a moment? I was asking, more or less asking myself. I was trying to remember because I normally have a very good memory on things or remembering things that were much longer ago than more than things that are recent. But I honestly can't recall anything that's that might have been there when I was younger, or
And that's fine. I just
um,
wanted to see because
yeah.
the way our memory works is sometimes as we gain new knowledge, we have to go back and do an assessment of the things that we've experienced, and then we start to glean things from it. I just thought you may have gleaned something from it. It's no big deal. It doesn't affect the validity or your ability as a researcher at all, in my opinion. For me, being in this field about 7 years of cryptid field, I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to realize some things. There's these unrealistic expectations in this field that are put upon people that are not put on people in any other field. So, for example, the field of Bigfoot research and cryptid research, there is no college or university for it, right? Like, it's not like you can say, hey, I'm going to sign up to go to school to be a Bigfoot researcher. But at the same time, Daniel, people turn around and act like there's a college or a school for it. And they put these
Exactly,
am I making sense, bro? You see what I'm saying? They put all these credentials and
absolutely.
this. They got this thing framed like, oh, you got to be this, and I'm sitting here saying, man, all y'all crazy. What are you talking about? Ain't no school for this. So when someone comes into the game and they got a different thought process or a different belief system, it's like this should be an open box that everybody can just dump stuff in until we figure it out. But somehow, some way, it's got to be this closed box with these Legos that's got to be put in this certain order. And I'm like, you have lost your freaking mind. The rest of the world thinks we're lunatics. You know what I'm saying? And you
Right.
guys are just tripping. All right. I'm sorry. Let me get off the soapbox, D. Let me chill. Let me chill, Dan. Let me get off
Oh
the
no,
box.
you're good. I'm enjoying hearing.
And we're gonna go back to it. So you go through, you start getting this interest, and then you start writing books. And one of the books that you told me about, I thought the approach you took in your writing books, I think is very significant because one of your books is, Wildlife and Bigfoot Research Guide, the guide to it. And then the other one is Learning Book Bigfoot. So to me, it seems like you said in your mind, okay, we got this field of disorder. Like if you imagine us all at the kitty table, because essentially this is what it boils down to in my mind. Like we're all at McDonald's and everybody's a researcher, and you got all these Lego blocks on a kitty table, and somebody's over there. These my blocks. Don't take my blocks. Another person's like, no, those my blocks, bro. Put my blocks back. It seems to me you're in your mind. You said, let me start organizing some of these things, and you went into which book came out first, the Learn Bigfoot book or the Wildlife Bigfoot Research Guide? Which one did you do? Did you write
Uh,
first?
it was the Learning Bigfoot book. Yeah. Um, yeah, but as far as what that entitles is Learning Bigfoot, it kind of catch, I know it does catch some people's attention because like, well, Learning Bigfoot, what does he know about Bigfoot? It's basically what I personally know about Bigfoot, what I've experienced. Then it goes into my research on the way I see things, and trying to point out to the audience that what I'm seeing, I'm trying to let them see inside my mind and my view on where I start from and what I lead into, and it's basically to get them to think or to at least consider that possibility. Only because there's so many different possibilities, or I should say, different theories. There are too many different theories out there that people are jumping on board with, which I don't see no problem with that, but there's a big confusion in that. Because I mean, really, technically, we don't know nothing about Bigfoot except our own personal experiences or observations. But as far as making facts about something, I mean, they're more or less personal facts. Um, Again, that's if we observe something and we know for a fact Bigfoot did do that because, hey, I saw that. But you have a lot of people that have not experienced that or really didn't see that, but yet they're willing to make that fact.
Oh, bro, you
So
100% right, dude. Dan, I'm telling you, I've experienced it. I've watched it. I've lived it. I've interviewed people and then watch as soon as the interview comes up, somebody try and discredit what the person said in the interview, and then I'll say, "Hey, have you ever been out in the field and did any research?" And then they'll delete their comment, and I'm like, "Okay, see, this is madness. This is pure and utter madness." And for
right,
me, my analytical engineering brain is like, "Yo, what is wrong with you?" Like common sense says, in a field like this where all you can do is observe and collect data, because it's really data collection through experiences, sound, smells, locations, temperatures, and all the rest of this. It's actually there's a level of purity to it that I'm getting pure data. I go out into the field. Today is Sunday. No, today is Tuesday. September 13th, it's 92 degrees. I go to the same location. I have photos of this location. There's an extra tree right there that wasn't there last week. What the hell is that tree? I take a photo of it. I look at it. It looks hairy. Chances are that's a Bigfoot. I don't have the DNA. I didn't see his penis. I didn't see his butt cheeks, but it looks like it might
Right.
be a Bigfoot. And things go crazy, man. All right, again, I'm on a soapbox. Let me get off. Let me stop because I be spazzing. All right, so when we start
That's so
going through
good.
learning Bigfoot, bro, it makes sense that you've got your philosophies, you got your ideas and your opinions on Bigfoot, and so you're just trying to share with people what you've learned about Bigfoot in an organized way of them kind of thinking about how to go about doing it. How did that lead into the Wildlife Bigfoot Research Guide? Talk to me about some of the things in that guide that you might want to get out to the public. For example, I ran a project like last year. It was called the Dogman cams. Right, we put cameras up in the woods, and we actually caught a lot of evidence. I mean, a whole lot of audio evidence, video evidence, crazy stuff. Right. Um, I took that and I moved that into data points, but nobody, like, there was nowhere for me to go to get a guide to doing research. So I had to kind of figure it out myself. Like, okay, does this make sense? It's kind of like you're stumbling around in the dark. Walk us through some of the points from that research guide because I want to learn something. I'm not going in the field looking for them because that's crazy. But nonetheless, I still want to know. You guys are crazy for that. I'm sorry.
Well, for starters, I'll put it to you this way. I'm on social media a lot because that's how I network. That's how I share and spread awareness of what I do and what I'm involved with. So, but I'm also involved, or I should say, a member of all these different cryptid Bigfoot and cryptid groups all throughout social media. People always add me and this stuff, and then I have my own personal research pages and stuff involved. But I can't help, ever since I started on social media, I'm still doing what I did back then that I'm doing today. I'm observing, and I can't help it. And I guess it just kind of becomes natural because I'm still taking notes, but at the same time, I'm questioning things. And of course, people take questioning as a threat, or whatever, intimidation. I want to question to know why they're making these statements. I want to know why they think this is what they're claiming this is, when clearly it's obvious. It's this. It's obvious to this or that. I'll give you some examples, and it's all basic. I'm seeing known species of wildlife tracks being displayed, but they're also being called this species. And that's where I'm a wildlife and Bigfoot researcher. I put wildlife before Bigfoot because there's so much neglect or misinformation on people or with people that they fail to realize what is known before knowing what is considering the unknown. They need to learn what is known first because there is so much misinformation. So many people are misinformed and they're misleading others on various things. When we come to find some of the findings that we look out, and we're out there exploring nature, and people are pointing fingers at every broken tree. I mean, it's like, hello, Bigfoot. It's not the only thing out there. There's wildlife that's very much responsible for what you're pointing fingers at, calling it Bigfoot work. There's nature. There's other wildlife. Bears are notorious for damaging trees and so forth. Just for examples. But then again, there's a lot on the other hand that we are seeing out there that we do want to believe and say that's Bigfoot. And then there's a part of my book where I explain how that could be a Bigfoot in comparison to a known species of non-human primates, because they do that in their neck of the woods, in their jungles and homes. It's just, there's a lot of basic stuff that people don't want to compare Bigfoot to to an actual primate. I get that. There's so many different theories behind that, but again, I stick to what my belief is and where my theory is, and I show comparisons why I believe that, because what we're pointing at Bigfoot, what he's responsible for doing, and some of the findings that we come across, again, chimpanzees and gorillas do it. They make these, they build these, they the tree knocks. Yeah, I've experienced tree knocks. I've gotten responses to tree knocks. What other known species is known for doing this? that's where I take my research at. Well, look at primates do them. You know, chimpanzees, gorillas, they slap the ground, they bang trees. A lot of people are finding stacked rocks up against a tree. I found that, but it's only been observed with chimpanzees, you know, a non-human species of primate. One thing I do want to make clear is by no means or whatsoever, I'm not making Bigfoot equal to our non-human primates. I'm only showing that there is behavioral
similarities. Is what you're saying. The
similarities, right? Thank you.
Right.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm with you, and that makes sense. And then, so, like, for anybody listening, you get, because again, there'll be people listening, and some of you guys are just so argumentative and retarded. And I want to help you, the retards who can't think through this. So, for example, let's take a scenario that Dan is talking about, right? So you're in the woods, you see some trees, some rocks stacked up against trees. It's a similarity in between a non-human primate and the Bigfoot activity. So then how do you figure out if it's a non-human primate or a Bigfoot? And how do you eliminate it? Common sense. Let me go and do some research and see if there are chimpanzees or gorillas in this area. Well, there's no known knowledge of chimpanzees or gorillas being in this area. So therefore, I lean towards the logical conclusion that it may be Bigfoot. Maybe, not sure, because there could be some wild chimpanzee that got out from some freaking lab and it's giving everybody monkeypox or something like that. We don't know, but nonetheless, that's the thought process on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's
right.
Then
exactly.
From my opinion, like, Dan, in my view, like, I'm not an outdoorsman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a city guy, born and raised in New Orleans. I can take you to any hood. We can go to the worst spot and get up out of there. No bullet wounds, no stab wounds, no nothing. We gonna be straight. But you put me in the woods, I'm gonna think a damn deer track is a Dogman track because I ain't never seen no deer track. So,
right.
To me, it sounds like the research guide is a great thing, and it should be one of the part of the fundamental learning process for people who say they want to be researchers. Like, and before you go out in the field, you need to know how to identify the tracks. And I'm talking about, this is not for the guy who's been hunting his whole life, but this will be for that armchair Facebook researcher who's not an outdoorsman, but that want to go out and go locally go look for Bigfoot. I think there needs to be a starting point, is what I'm saying. If we want to get evidence, we need a starting point for people. So you got to know something before you go out there. Am I making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could have said it better myself, you know. So, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, people just need to slow down a little bit. You know, I think what it is, a lot of them do get excited and then a little too much, maybe a little zealous into the subject, you know. I mean, I have to speak for myself. I know I understand where people are because I was that way once. I really was. When there was so much excitement and passion in the beginning. I mean, there's a lot more passion now because there's a lot more experiences built up, and I've gained a lot of knowledge and information over the years. But I try to be understanding because I was one of those people in the beginning that was going out into the woods. When I first got involved with the Bigfoot phenomenon, everything had been Bigfoot. You know, it's like, man, Bigfoot was around every tree. You know, it was kind of one of those things where every broken tree, it's like, man, I might be on the Bigfoot. You know, no, I had, you know, it's like, wait a minute, I had to like step back, like chill out. You know, I mean, you know, there's a lot more to nature than people realize. It's not just Bigfoot. It's not just Dogman. It's just not whatever you might want to believe that's out there. There's a lot of wildlife, you know, I mean, you know, because I look at certain particular wildlife, some species more than others. A lot of times it's bears. Here in Virginia, I'm not sure how it is down much further south, but here in Virginia, black bears are notorious. I mean, I've had my share of encounters, some close, some distant, but never in a aggressive or mean manner. I mean, by the time I've always seen black bears or startle them, they were going in the opposite direction. But my thing with black bears is I've studied their tracks. I've observed their tracks. And we have some big black bears up here in Virginia. I've seen them. I found their tracks. I've seen 13 to 15 inch black bear tracks. And that's pretty big for a black bear. So unless you go more towards, I guess, to the mid or further northwest or wherever, but yeah, black bears have there's a lot of similarities with black bears. A lot of people are finding black bear tracks, and I've seen it very recently where people are claiming they're Bigfoot tracks when they're clearly bear tracks. So there's a lot of misidentification with tracks in general. Um, yeah, is there misidentifications with people seeing known species of wildlife and thinking it's Bigfoot? Absolutely. Maybe it's gotten a little bit better over the years. You know, people, maybe there's a little bit more information, you know, I guess, because a lot of these adults, when I see a lot of these adults giving bear tracks credit for being Bigfoot, I mean, it makes you wonder, did they ever watch Sesame Street or something, you know? You know? I mean, it's simple basics if you really look at it. I mean, but that's like, there is another book. It's a children's book I put together. And it's just a coloring activity guide. There's pictures of different species of wildlife in there, and there's pictures with their track. And I do that for young children. I've had adults buy it, and it's fun because if you like to color, there it is. You got different wildlife pictures, and then there's there's Bigfoot in there. But but yeah, I put species of wildlife, certain one like deer, wolves, mountain lion, bears, your basic species, known species, that are here in North America. And then again, like I said, along with the species, there's a track to identify that species with. And, perhaps I may do something a little bit more later on, maybe a little bit more advanced for, keep it for the youth. But, a lot of adults have bought that book just for their little kids. Again, it's a coloring book. It's, it's some basic information in there for children to start learning and understanding. But yeah, that's the thing. People need to start really doing some research before they throw this bear track out there and trying to claim it's a Bigfoot track.
I got you. We're going to give them a break on the bear track because you hammered them to death on the bear track. Listen, y'all. Dan says stop posting these damn bear tracks and calling them Bigfoot tracks. Stop it right now. You're pissing them off, man. Y'all going to have to stop, man. Because y'all got this man all riled up over these bear tracks. Y'all going to have to chill out. Let's move on to this one, Dan.
DW has spoken.
DW has spoken. Y'all cut that crap out. What I was going to say is, let's start from here. So if you've had experience, you've written the books. All right, so let's walk through a scenario. Let's say, and it's not even a scenario. Let's use it with me. I don't go out in the field, right? All my data comes from talking to people. I'm very good at getting information from people. But let's say I went out into the field. We know the first step that you would tell me to do is I need to learn about the track. So I need to spend some time studying the existing wildlife that's out there in the location where I plan on making my research area. I need to know what tracks are there, what animals are there, and then boom. So let's say I went through that process. Now, I know in Louisiana we got boars, we got wild hogs, we got deers, we got gators, we got this. I know what the prints look like. I go out into the field. What would you say would be my next step as a researcher? What am I looking for at that point in time? What's the next thing I should be paying attention to?
Well, apart from identifying or finding tracks, period, it would be basically your general surrounding. You want to be aware, and you want to be well aware of your surroundings. One, for your safety, or two, you just don't know what you might overlook. For example, I've been walking through the woods, not finding nothing, and because depends on the terrain. Tracks are not always going to be visible. For one thing, I like to find or look for my tracks around creek beds, streams, or anywhere that's got exposed ground. Because up here you have a lot of the leaf litter, pine litter, depending on the type of forest you walk through. But yeah, you want to look around for your wildlife because most wildlife are usually pretty skittish, on the most part. But then again, you never know; you might walk up on something. So it's very important to be aware. And as a fellow Bigfooter, one of the things that we like to look for, again, when certain type of tree structures and formations that might stand out. And one thing about that, as I tell people, regardless if it's Bigfoot, nature, or some other known species of wildlife that may have created or have that might be responsible for such a thing, I like to refer to it as nature's art. Because here's an example: teepee type structures. I find them to be one of the most fascinating structures to come across. I have some very interesting images that I've documented from what I found out in the woods. Um, Now, on some of these, could they have been nature related? Because a lot of people don't realize that during winds and storms, when trees get blown over or uprooted, they end up catching and colliding, and sometimes they might just catch at the right moment where they get stuck together and they're forming a TP structure. Um, there's things like that you have to consider. And some of these things are easier said than done when trying to rule out the other possible suspects of what or who may have done that. Um, Here's another famous thing too. A lot of people are trekking deep in the woods, and for example, up here in Virginia, we have the George Washington National Forest. It's very remote. There's a lot of forest up here, and it connects into other states. And again, there's over hundreds of thousands of acres that belong to these national forests. So, when you drive into these areas, when you're driving down the forest road, you're already in the middle of these woods. And then to park your vehicle and then step foot out of your vehicle and start trekking deeper in, I mean, there's no phone service. So, you got to be very well aware of your surroundings, as I mentioned, because, there's a lot of dangers out there. Yeah, we have mountain lions up here, even though the authorities deny it. But many of us have witnessed seeing the mountain lions, cougars, or panthers, whatever. I'm one of them. But however, apart from that, you got people going deep in the woods and they're coming across these structures and these formations. Like, man, a Bigfoot had to do this because look, I'm way out here. Well, you're out there. So isn't there a possibility that Bigfoot may have done that, created that at some point in time? So that's something, you have to consider.
Yeah, it makes sense, bro. I've
So,
seen some photos of I've seen photos of structures that ain't no way in hell the wind did it. And then I've seen photos of I guess you would call them deadfalls where trees falling over. And then I've seen stuff where the wind
oh
did
yeah,
it and you could tell it was a fresh break because you can tell by the interior portions of the wood that was freshly blown over. But there's been some stuff that was just bent over. And I'm like,
yeah,
nah, bro, that something did that. And whatever the hell did it, you got to be a bad mamma jamma to do something like that. Um,
oh
I
yeah,
want to play an audio that we got on our. Hopefully it'll do it. So on one of my talk
yeah.
shows, we have called "Chasing the Truth." We caught an audio from this young lady Beth. She sent it to us outside our house. I want you to listen to this. Let me see if it's actually going to play, because I don't know how this works on here. Um,
Yeah, on StreamYard, I'm not familiar if I've
I,
ever played audio on this.
yeah, hold on. We're gonna remove this from the studio. And how do I do that? I don't think you're gonna be able to hear it, bro. Damn it! I
Okay.
don't know how to do it. Wait, let me
Yeah,
try
because
something.
I think I know you could do videos on here and stuff like that, but I'm not sure if audio is connected to that.
It should be. Hold on. I think what I gotta do is I gotta go to the YouTube. So I'm gonna share
Oh,
this.
that's right. That's right. No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. It's been a while since.
I think you're gonna be able to hear it. Hold on. I'm gonna go to my YouTube channel, and you're gonna hear my voodoo guy talking. That's him. Let me go videos. Let's go to the studio because this hadn't released yet. I want you to hear this because this is freaky, bro. Like it's stupid freaky.
And before you play it, where was this recorded?
This is in North Carolina. She didn't give her
Oh,
exact
okay.
location, and I didn't want her to give her exact location because people are crazy. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the one
Hold
and
on.
only. Let me fast forward a little bit. The very first time I heard the audio, can you hear that she had in comparison to the. You're hearing the audio right
No,
now?
I'm hearing talking in the distance, but it's very quiet.
Oh, because that means you can't hear it. All right, so let me try this. I want to say it's like Cypress Hill. There are people who saying that what's going on. Oh, I know why. Because I got to share the audio with the video. Hold on. Um, Let's try this again. Stop share. Share. Screen share. Share audio system. There we go. Now we cooking with grease, ladies and gentlemen. Share. All right. Here we go. Now you're gonna be able to hear it.
All right, I heard it for a little bit, but then it sounds like it's muted right now.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, it's starting to come back.
Bro, that's terrifying.
From what I'm making out of it, yeah, I mean, because it's still a little quiet, but I mean, I'm pushing my headset together in my ears.
That means what that means is it's not sharing the audio with you. What I'm gonna do is
Okay.
I'm gonna send this to you. I'm gonna email this to you right now. You can listen to that at different time, bro. It's
Oh yeah, that's fine.
bro. When I tell you, it's crazy because it's this. You hear this like in between the yells and the screams. You literally
Okay.
hear this huffing, bro. I don't know of anything that can huff like that. I'm sorry. I was hoping that you would be able to hear it live. I got. That's why I don't like the StreamYard. I prefer to use Skype and then I can play it all. But it's all good. We're gonna work it out. But bro, the audios that I get, Dan, they are. It's like I don't think there's any way. I know people fake stuff and they make stuff up, but bro, I don't even know how in the world you could fake something like that. Like I have another one that's private that they wouldn't let me share of this howl, and I'll send that to you so you can listen to. Bro, the howl was so ridiculous. I've heard a wolf howl before, right? It's like 100
Oh
wolves
yeah.
at the same time, but it lasted like damn near like 99 seconds. It was so ridiculously long. I'm like, what the hell can howl that long? It's
Right.
crazy that um, it's crazy that these things
Yeah.
exist and you get these type of sounds, man. I don't know what to make of it, bro. Honestly, I don't.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of different vocals shared from various people, and then there's a couple I've looked up and listened to here and there. I know the Ohio howl is that's very fascinating. Um, there was actually one that came from West Virginia. I'm not sure what part of West Virginia, but that there was recorded. Somebody had their recorder out, and they live somewhere in the mountains, but it was off their back deck. It was raining, and you could hear it in the mountains behind them. And yeah, very beast-like and very. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah. I mean, I've heard screams and various sounds out in nature. In my research area, but there's been very few things that I couldn't really make out. As far as not when I say make out, as far as identify. But
Oh no, it's
however,
definitely it happens, bro.
oh
Like
yeah,
what I've been trying to figure out, and I'm primarily a Dogman guy, so when I delve into the Bigfoot community and talk to people, I end up being cool with everybody. What I've been trying to figure out, I don't know if there's a standardized way of analyzing anything. To me, it seems like
right,
everything is opinion based, but it would make sense to me. For example, there should be like a audio sound clip. And there are plenty of audio sound clips of Bigfoot that have been agreed upon, right? Like we all agree this is Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? It's been
oh
sampled,
yeah,
it's been verified, and then it should be 8 to 10 of those that everyone's coming into agreement with as an audio, right? So now we all agree that this is Bigfoot. Now any other evidence that comes in, don't matter who it comes from, there's no emotional attachment to it. It's compared to this standard that we know exists, and either it meets that
right,
standard or it doesn't. And it just seems like across the board in all these communities, because there's no standardization of anything, it leads to confusion, conflict, and controversy because nothing has been
Right.
standardized. So, for example, there's prints of Bigfoot. I mean, like casts of Bigfoot that it's Bigfoot. It's a perfectly made cast. It's huge. It looks like a Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Right.
and for some reason, nobody says, okay, we're going to standardize. This is the cast. This is a juvenile print. This is an adult male print. This is what we believe is an adult female print. All right. We got some kind of standardization. Now, hey, you got your cast, you got your footprint. Let's compare it to this. And then analyze
Right.
it and find the similarities. And it's like once the opinions get taken out of it and it goes to just cold hard analytics, look, this is this, this is this, this is this. Bro, nothing personal. Go get something else. We don't think this is it. Once we get to that point across the cryptid field, I think we'll really make some headway. But until we get to that point where it's beyond just everybody's emotional opinions, I feel like we just trapped, bro. Like we're trapped in this
Right.
never-ending loop of craziness. I mean, pure and utter
Oh yeah.
craziness.
Yeah. I think one of the most, I guess, intriguing and fascinating vocalizations out there. I can't say they're the most, but I mean, they're very popular. I'll say that is the Sierra Sounds recorded from Ronald J. Moorhead. I mean, they're interesting. I don't, I know there's been people that have actually been caught trying to use Ronald's recordings and pass them off of their own. I mean, that's been debunked on. I forget what it's called, Believe It or Not, or some kind of some shows I used to watch where they actually did an analyzing of the audio and actually was able to compare it to Ronald Moorhead's Sierra Sounds, and but yeah, some people will take other known recordings that are out there and try to pass them off of their own. I believe that's happened a few times. I don't know how common that might be, but as far as people taking other recordings, yeah, it might be a real recording, but then like I said, you got copycats trying to use other people's work or what they've captured. So, but
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that people do. It's definitely a thing that people do. We had an encounter with something that was supposed to be similar to that, where we had this big confrontation with this group. When we captured, one of my researchers captured some evidence, and again, the lack of standardization is where I had an issue with. Like it was like, okay, we know that this sound is this. We heard it. We know that it's this sound. And so I said, okay, fine. Show me the samples where you compared the sound samples, right? Like this sound to that sound. Because at the end of the day, if there's a comparison and what you're saying is true, it's factually, look, bro, this is something wrong. This dude who gave me this is a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a fraud. Okay, we got to talk about that. But if we have standards where, okay, we know this is this sound effect, we know this is this Bigfoot sound, and we compare them, and then let the evidence speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? What I've discovered is this was in the Bigfoot community. It was, oh, this is fraudulent, this is fake, this is my. It was all opinion based, and all I wanted was, look, just show me something on it that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a fair person. If it's wrong, then it's freaking wrong. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna cross that
oh
bridge,
yeah,
and that's why I say the standardization is needed and necessary because once you show something, there's no argument. There's no way to argue. I can't argue with anything that's factual. Here's one spectrum, sound spectrum. Here's the other sound spectrum. They match. Boom. All right. Something wrong over here because this is fraudulent in some way, shape, or form. Let's find out what's going on with this and where it came from, right? But at the end of the
right.
day, until we as a community, and I say cryptic community, until we start making those standards, it's going to always be some BS going down out here in the streets. All right, Dan, we're running up on the end of this show. I'll tell you what, my brother, let's do some promotions because you are everywhere talking to everyone about Bigfoot in the upcoming months. Walk my audience through where they can find you and where they can see you at your best speaking about the Bigfoots. Where are you going to be coming up?
Well, if you're in Virginia, Salem, Virginia, at the Salem Civic Center, September 24th, I will be there among several others. Lyle Blackburn, a well known cryptozoologist in the field, will be there himself as a speaker. We got some great lineups there. But yeah, September 24th in Salem, Virginia, at the Salem Civic Center. Come on out. You can't miss it. The place is huge. It's where they have a lot of their major NBA games and everything else there. But so the month of October gets a little bit busier. October 8th, also right here in Virginia at the Wares Cave Community Center in Wares Cave, is the annual Virginia Squatch Festival. We got a variety of vendors, food, arts and crafts, et cetera, and then we have a few speakers that are set to be there. And I will point out one of the speakers that will be there. He's a really great friend of mine from out of the state of Kentucky. The owner of Sauce Squatch Barbecue Sauce. Yes, it's SOSS Squatch.com, all one word. Actually, yeah, if you go, excuse me, I left out that LLC in it. So saucesquatchllc.com. Check out his website. He's going to be using that website, I believe, to announce and promote his upcoming 2023 Kentucky Bigfoot Conference. He has actually been featured, or he's actually been on These Woods Are Haunted. He has a very incredible story. His episode's actually very pulsating. It will definitely put you on the edge of your seat. So yeah, he's a real great friend of mine. You'll find him there in Virginia. Then again, me and him, we're actually headed to South Carolina together. We'll actually be set up together. And that is happening in Westminster, South Carolina, October 14th and 15th. The main event is on the 15th. So if you can't make it Friday, no big deal. We will be there all day Saturday, October 15th in Westminster, South Carolina. For you, I know we get a lot of people from Georgia because it's not far from Georgia at all. But yeah, come find us down there. Couple things coming up too. Sometime this year, there is a new TV series coming to Paraflix. For those who are familiar with Paraflix, it's just like Netflix. It's another TV network. Hometown Haunts is coming to Paraflix Network. I was actually recorded for the first episode of that. It's called The Beast of Elkhorn Lake. And I'm hoping they turn it into a regular DVD documentary. It's going to be on the Paraflix streaming service. So that's one of the documentaries. I'm featured in a couple other documentaries. My very first one is called Elusive Legend, an ECBRO story. You can find that one actually available for free on Tubi, by the way. So Tubi TV, you can watch that for free. I Believe in Bigfoot. It's going to be a really big documentary. That's coming out in 2023. I'm featured in that. Michael Cook is featured in that. And that's got Ronald Moorhead, David Becerra, it's several others. I think the North Carolina Squatch Watchers will be there as well. Good group of people, man. And then we have another one also coming in 2023, Trekking Bigfoot. I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually going to be filmed next weekend for that while I am at the September 24th event here in Salem, Virginia. So there's a lot of excitement going on here. There's a lot of Bigfoot film projects in the works. I almost left one out. That was filmed out in the state of Illinois, is the hunt for the Shawnee Sasquatch. Yeah, so you can check that out. That's available on Facebook. I could provide you guys with a link for that later. But anyway, there's so much going on. There was something else I wanted to throw out there before I lose I'm getting a brain fart on that, but
Bro, you rolled out a whole bunch, bro. So you lost track. I mean, that's awesome.
yeah.
Man. I tell you, it really is. From my perspective, and I've said this. So there's the people who are active in these fields, right? Like the cryptid research field. And what I've seen is that like Hollywood and like big box brands they like to come in and access those people, pull that talent and use it and then dispose of it. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
good that you guys are doing things on your own and you kind of getting the ball rolling, man. I really admire that. That's what's got to happen here in the field in order to get the true message out about Bigfoot and Sasquatch and Dogman and anything. It's got to be people who are in this field who are actually creating the content, like large scale content for people outside of the field to consume it, not just for people
Oh
who are like
yeah.
inside the field. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and then as far as these Bigfoot film documentaries that I'm featured in or starring in, I mean, they're the producers. They're actually, they're actually indie film producers. Independent film producers. Now the one that's doing the one that's coming out in 2023, it's called "I Believe in Bigfoot." Now he's, from what I learned and of this gentleman, Kelly. His name's Kelly Lockward. Anyway, he is actually an award-winning film producer. I mean, he's not a Hollywood producer or anything like that, but he's doing. This is his first Bigfoot film documentary, and I've seen a partial trailer to what he's done so far because we did some filming a few months ago. We finished up doing some filming less than a month ago when we were down in Tennessee. So, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot to look forward to on these Bigfoot film projects. And they're not trying to. These film producers, they're not making any money off of these. They're putting more money out to make it, quality, good quality, and with real boots on the ground researchers, people with real stories. So yeah, I mean, it's coming together. I like what's happening, and not just I don't get to share my story in these films, but I also get to share a small touch of my research and share my take and my view on things. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful and blessed that I get to be a part of these films. Yeah, I feel proud that 2 of these films were based on me. I mean, I try not to toot my horn too much, but I'm proud of what I've been involved with. I'll say that. Yeah, I got YouTube channels where I put up my own field videos. I mean, my YouTube channel, it's Bigfoot Zone it's Bigfoot Zone ECBRO, ECBRO in parentheses, and I'm not one of these people. I mean, I wish it would be nice to have a big channel like you. I only got the 3,000 subscribers. But I mean, I haven't put content out in a while. The most recent things on there are me talking and promoting a couple of events, but that's about it. I use every source possible to promote what I got going on and to put out there. I mean, I have the event website, VABigfootCon.com. I also have my own personal website, ECBROfounder.com. I share some of my film footage in there, my upcoming movies. I have a couple of my books in there. Then I have a section where I try to share to people upcoming events, which ones to look out for, so, and, yeah, so I mean, it's there for everyone to check out. I try to share the heck out of everything and promote it, because I'm not just sharing and promoting myself. There's others I share and promote. I do that a lot. I like spreading awareness for everyone. People
that sounds good, my friend. I tell you what, we're gonna wrap it up, and I'll tell you, I'm gonna be doing my Bigfoot week or weekend. I think I'm gonna do it a week. I'm gonna have Wes reach back out to you, and we're gonna do some panels on Bigfoot where we're gonna pick a topic about Bigfoot, whether it be prints, whether it be nests, whether it be locations, and then we'll have 2 or 3 different researchers discussing things and sharing issues and topics and kind of giving insight into it. So I'm gonna have you come back on to do that with us. And as for your YouTube channel, bro, I'm looking at it right now. You got a lot of videos. We're gonna talk about some of the stuff you probably need to do because you got a lot of videos. You just probably missing one little thing that's keeping you from going where you need to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the one and only Dog Waters, and I want to let you guys know. I want you to go check out Mr. Beniot's YouTube channel, Bigfoot Zone ECBRO. Check out his books. Definitely, if you are in town and you're in Virginia and you're anywhere near this conference that he's going to be at, go out and support. Let him know that Dog Water sent you. We appreciate you guys and we love you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.